blondes.
Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
Happy to see you today. I'm Erin Ward from WSI Digital Solutions Group, and I am so happy to be joined by Jennifer Sugarman. She's the president and CEO of the Cocoa Beach Regional Chamber of Commerce. And we get to learn so much about the chamber today that I'm super passionate about. It's helped me grow in the business in Brevard County. But one thing the Cocoa Beach Regional Chamber does is they want to help businesses achieve success through a myriad of avenues, including, but not limited to, networking events, educational opportunities, and introductions to natural partners boosting overall business. So we want to welcome you to the show.
Thanks
for being here.
Thanks for having me. This is fun.
Yeah, so before we get into what the Cocoa Beach Regional Chamber of Commerce can do for businesses, let's talk a little bit about you and give us your background. Young person, president, CEO, this girl can do it all.
I'm clinging to it by my fingernails.
Can do it all. So I really want to give you an opportunity to highlight your background and how you got to become the president and CEO of the chamber.
Sure. So I came to the county in July of 2010. I wanted to live in Florida on the beach as long as I could remember, and so I was sharing with Erin some personal behind the scenes. I called my husband's bluff. Sorry, Chris. And he said, if you go and find a job and find us a place to live, I'll come with you. I'll leave my job in Atlanta and come with you. And so 2 weeks later, I was on a plane. And I had an interview with our county's Economic Development Commission. Thank you to the EDC. That is where I got my start in the county. And so if you're not familiar with the EDC, they do attraction and retention for high-tech manufacturing companies and beyond. Great organization, and I got to know a lot about the county through that. Including, I got to manage a countywide PR campaign called Made in Brevard, which we worked with all 4 chambers in the community, and I got to know them all really well. Loved what the chambers did, and there happened to be an opening for CVB director for the Cocoa Beach Chamber of Commerce. And so I made the hop from economic development to tourism, which was fun, and did that for 14 months. And then the CEO position opened up, and I thought, what the heck, I'll go for it. And they gave a kid a chance. So I'm really appreciative of that. And I've been doing this now for 3.5 years. Time flies when you're having fun. So that's a little bit about my background and how I got here. But
and it's amazing too, because those are really 2 of the main industries of Brevard County, right? You have the tech manufacturing kind of supporting of the space side, but then you have this huge element of convention, visitors, hospitality, tourism.
I mean, all of Florida really, that's our bread and butter. It will continue to be so, is tourism. And so it's a huge market, and it's a really important one, and certainly a large part of this chamber.
Yeah. One thing you talk about with the chamber is all these educational opportunities. Mm-hmm. So it's not just about building your business from meeting other business owners, but you guys, is that something, an initiative that you took hold of, or is that something that's always been part of the chamber culture?
Oh, that's always been part of the chamber's culture, and really all the chambers, I'm sure. But we really pride ourselves at the Cocoa Beach Chamber of being a platform. So we provide the opportunities, and then the businesses will come, the businesses will come, and then they'll take advantage of those opportunities. So whether it's government affairs, monitoring, pro-business legislation throughout the year, pro-business candidates if it's an election season. Citizens for Space Exploration is housed in our chamber, and that's really a grassroots effort where we take students from university students from Florida, as well as community members up to Washington, D.C., and we advocate for human space flight in the budget. So it's just one small way that we kind of give a nod to our space history and try and help out in that way. We have our Convention and Visitors Bureau, which is a council of the chamber, and they have a tourism office in Cocoa Beach, and we service about 10 to 12,000 tourists a year that come through that door. And I was actually just looking at the numbers this year. Among all 4 of our locations, we serviced almost 40,000. That's both locals and tourists alike. So you can see that it's no small number. I mean, we're really kind of hitting all the different demographics. So those are just a few examples off the top of my head on different educational platforms that the chamber provides that our business partners will come and take advantage of.
And one thing I've noticed being a part of the chamber since I've moved here, honestly, since April, was
welcome to Brevard.
Thank you. Yeah. One of the beautiful things is that people that are part of the chamber really buy into it. It's such a, like I said, it's such a culture within it. Mm-hmm. People swear by the chamber. The second I moved here, oh, have you joined the chamber yet? Oh, have you joined the chamber yet? And it was really motivating, and everybody in the groups and everybody that I've met is really, really amazing. So I'll give you credit for that.
Well, thanks. I'll take it. But the ball was rolling long before I came. I just, we try and incorporate a few new ideas. Something that I did start when I arrived at the chamber, something I felt was kind of a missing component, was a young professionals group.
Oh, sure.
So,
yeah.
Being a millennial emerging professional, which is the new word I'm using, being an emerging professional myself, when I first came into the county, I had just turned 23. Here I am in my business suit, and I'm walking into all these different board meetings and executive committee meetings and networking events, and I just felt, and maybe it's that internal pressure you feel, as you're first starting out in your career, but I just felt eyes on me, like, who is this kid, playing dress up in a suit in this community and that sort of thing. So given that I felt that way, fast forward almost 10 years later, I felt like, the chamber really should be at the forefront of training for these young professionals, to have a support group, for lack of a better term, of a safe space where we could all come together and say, we're of a similar age group, we might be of a similar mindset, let's get together and have our own networking opportunities and talk about what it's like to be a younger or emerging professional in Brevard County, and then also hear from some seasoned professionals that have been there, done that, and can help really grow our skill set. So that's kind of what the YPG is doing within the chamber, and one of my favorite groups, one of my pet projects.
Yeah, and you can even niche that out even farther too. Like, just as you're talking, we were talking before, I was a student athlete coming out of the world with like no job experience. Okay, why not band together and kind of figure out how we can navigate that, or mentor younger people to kind of help them navigate that process. So that's really cool.
You have to. Yeah, Erin and I graduated around the same time, so we felt the pressure of the recession in Orlando and Atlanta, trying to be little fish in huge ponds swimming around. It
with
was
no jobs available.
No jobs. It was rough, but here we are. We made it.
Yeah, we did.
Go us.
Go us.
That's that.
Okay, so who does the chamber really help? Like, what's the perfect business that can come in and benefit from the chamber?
Okay, well, every business, if you're a business, is the perfect business, first of all. But, we have all different size businesses in our chamber. I will tell you that for the Cocoa Beach Chamber, we have about 79 to 80% small business, which we define by having 1 to 5 employees. So we're sensitive to that, to the needs of small business. And for myself, my husband's a small business owner. So in my position, it gives me a really nice perspective, because I now, 3 years into his business, understand exactly what that means to be a small business. And he even hates using the term small. He's like, don't call us small, we're doing big things, which is absolutely accurate.
Sure.
And just the blood, sweat, and tears, the late hours, the time missed with family, I really have a true understanding now of what that takes to run a small business. So about 80% is smaller business, and then the rest would be medium or large. So we have all kinds of businesses in our chamber, and we try to help them all. We have everyone from, a Mary Kay consultant, who are fabulous, all the way up to SpaceX, ULA, Boeing, Lockheed, Kennedy Space Center, some of our bigger organizations. And the goals for them are going to be different, so you're not going to have AT&T, for instance, standing up in a leads group saying a good referral for me is going to be, because they're AT&T, everyone recognizes the globe. But what's nice about AT&T is that they recognize the chamber's mission and everything that we're involved in this community, and they invest in that. So, whereas a smaller business is going to be at a weekly leads group and saying, hey, I would really like it if you're out selling your phone service, if you could also let people know that I can write their business insurance. So it's different across the board, but so business really is our perfect client, if that answers your question. I know it's kind of broad, but...
Well, no, but I feel like the larger people can help support the smaller and vice versa. Like, it's not like they're exclusive. You're just kind of...
They all work together. It's a very symbiotic relationship, and it's really exciting to watch.
Yeah, that's awesome. 2 to 3 problems people typically have, they don't know where to network. They don't know really where to get started, especially when they move to a new community. Using me as an example, I didn't really know where to get started. What do you recommend for someone who's just moved to the community, they're a small business owner? What events do you think that they need to go to right away?
Well, I think, explore your local chamber first. They're kind of your one-stop shop for everything in the community, really. Every chamber is unique. If you've seen one chamber, you've seen one chamber, but we all have a similar mission. So for us, what I recommend if you're getting involved with the chamber is come to the new partner join the chamber.
Yeah.
Yeah, number one. Come to the new partner orientation, which is going to be, for us, it's 90 minutes of, you've been to one, I think. Yeah, 90 minutes of drinking through a fire hose of everything the chamber does. It's a little bit overwhelming, but it at least gives you that nice overview of everything that we do. And then whatever you hear in that meeting, take one thing that piqued your interest and just come to it. And make that the one thing you come to every month. Just dip your toe into the pool with the chamber and get into some sort of a leads club, or come to our Wednesday Friends Day Business Unplugged. For our chamber, that's our major networking event once a month. We have one coming up, which I'm super excited about because it's in my hometown city of Satellite Beach. So I invite you out to that. It's on Wednesday, February 6th at 5:30. And so really that's where I would start. If I was joining this chamber and I had nothing, no professional involvement with the chamber, I would come to a new partner orientation, learn about the chamber and all of our offerings, and then I would go to the networking event. And I know not everyone is as outgoing, maybe as I am, but we have a lot of people that are shy, or they're new, or they don't like to be in public or public speak, or just walk up and say, hey, I'm Jen, nice to meet you. So one of the things that the chamber does, which you wouldn't get with another organization, is that we take the time to have an ambassador of the chamber come and say, I see you're new, you've got a new partner ribbon on, who would you like to meet? And so they will then take you around and introduce you to some people and get those conversations started, so you're not just kind of thrown in, baptism by fire style. We like to really make sure that you feel comfortable at our events.
Yeah, that's really important too, because you can just be a wallflower in a room.
Yes.
It's kind of intimidating. Like Wednesday Friends Day is a huge event.
It's big,
so it can be intimidating, but I love that you have that.
We try, and it's hard to catch them all.
Yeah.
But it's a good system that we have in place.
So there might be some misconceptions about chambers. Do you run into those a lot? Do you hear those all the time? Go ahead and explain those.
Occasionally we have a lot of businesses that have found such great success within the chamber. They've been in the chamber for a long time, 20, 30 years. The chamber's been around 51 years this year. So you can get some of those perceptions. Certainly I don't do this, but back in the day, networking events were kind of seen as a party social, go and have 5 glasses of wine instead of the recommended 2 a day, so no, we're not a party chamber. We do like to network, but so that would be one. And then also just a chamber of commerce. You hear it at all the chambers, really being cliquish. This isn't high school, we're all adults, it's your business owners trying to get business from other different community members. So no, we're not a clique, and if we are, you're a part of it the second you join. So that's something that we try and mitigate and get away from, is that, some of our partners that have been with us a long time, they welcome our brand new partners, and they really want to get to know you. And we always say you do business with people that you know, like, and trust. And we value those relationships as you join. We want you to be a part of all of our groups.
Yeah, and that's really important too, because I've been part of those chambers, or I've been to those events, not necessarily chambers, but those events where, it's all salespeople just having to drink at the end of the day, and I've never had that feeling coming to any of the Cocoa Beach Regional Chamber of Commerce events, because I think it's really powerful. So there's so many opportunities out there for small businesses, obviously. What do you think stops people from joining right away? Is it they're not sure about cost? Is it that they're not sure if it's the right fit for them?
It's 2 things. It's money and time, which makes the world go round, right? So if you're not investing with your money, you're investing your valuable time. And we respect that, and we understand that. I have a 2-year-old at home. Of course, I would rather spend every second of the day with him sometimes than being out and networking. But it's important. It's important for the chamber and for our community and the community that my family lives in. So we understand that and we respect that. I'd like to think that we're very economically priced, even for a small business. We do have a task force in the winds, because we're going to be switching over from what we call a fair share model of dues, which is based on your employee count of how much you pay for dues, over to a tiered due structure, which just means that we're going to package and bundle everything, for lack of a better term, so that you can kind of pick which box you want to go with, and it'll have different benefits. And ultimately, I think it'll be better for our partners. Chambers have been doing this for a long time, and I think we're kind of late to the game in that respect for this kind of due structure. But I think it's money, and I think it's time. When we have our business partners that drop, number one reason is the business closes, which we hate to see. We try and prevent that. But that's the number one reason. And then the second biggest reason is no time. I wasn't able to come to any of your events, so I didn't feel a value. And that's something I kind of want to touch on, because I do want to say, if you invest your $300 or $320 as a small business, and we see you one time and then we don't see you again for the rest of the year, please know that your dollars are still being invested into your community. And I want to hit on that word invest, because that's exactly what it is when you join the chamber. You're investing in every single thing that our chamber does. So you have a part in government affairs and monitoring pro-business friendly legislation. You have a hand in making sure that the Space Coast remains the capital for all things space. You have a hand in supporting our military. We have a huge military affairs council, and we raise over $50,000 a year, both in cash and in-kind goods and services, for active duty local military men and women and their families. You're a part of that if you're a part of our chamber, and that's something that people should feel proud of. And it's something that they should feel like their money is going towards a good cause, whether or not they are able to attend and promote their business or not. Now, we want you to use it. We always laugh that it's like, I shouldn't use this analogy because I haven't been in some time myself, but yeah, it's like a gym. Looking a little flabby here. But yeah, it's like a gym. If you don't use it, you're not going to see the full benefit. So we want you to use it. We want you to come out. But if you can't, just know that, we understand that. We know there's a lot of 1 and 2 people shows. You can't get out of your 4 walls. Yeah. That's kind of what the chamber's designed to do, is to pull you out every now and then, to see the business community and to more powerfully promote your business. But if you can't, your dollar's still going a long way.
And I have to give a shout out to my You Gotta Eat Leads group, which is the one thing I typically refuse to miss. The only time I miss is illness. Because that group on its own, it's a leads group within the actual chamber that I've signed up for.
We have 7 of them.
Yeah, 7, and they all have their unique culture. I found the one that's the right fit for me, and that group, I'm telling you, not only are you leveraging other people in the community as your sales force, but I've learned so much from those 20 people, more than I could have if I just went to a networking event. There's a lot of really cool opportunity just to build those relationships with a network of 20 people. And if that's the only thing you do, that's paid for itself.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's really
And I
powerful.
should mention, I'm glad you mentioned the leads clubs. Just within our 7 leads clubs in 2018, they passed almost 2,000 leads to one another. And that's really powerful. I mean, that's businesses doing business with other business partners, really. And so it's really impressive in my mind, just not to toot our own horn, but 2,000 leads in a year. That's our business partners helping one another. And that's really, at the end of the day, what the chamber's all about.
And learning about what people need and all of that. It's just fantastic. And I love the chamber. It was probably the best decision I made. So
Thank you.
I appreciate that. Now, let's go back and talk a little bit about you. You said you have a 2-year-old, you have a husband who's a small business owner.
I do.
So talk to us about how you kind of manage all of that. How do you keep all of those balls in the air?
How do you manage that? Does anyone watching know? No.
Yeah.
My husband, Chris, is great. And I think that for our family, and not everyone has this, and so I'm super blessed. But for me personally in this role, there's a lot of hours, there's a lot of after-hour events, there's a lot of before-hour events. And so there's days where, I'll wake up and I'll leave the house before he wakes up, and I won't get home until after he's asleep, and then the same thing will happen the next day. So I go a couple days without seeing him. When I say that out loud, it sounds ridiculous when I know that there's, soldiers out there leaving their kids for 3 or 4 months at a time. But just like any mom, you're obsessed with your kid. Mine in particular is devilishly handsome and just like a little, have you guys seen him? He's so cute. Proud
I'll post
mommy.
a picture in the comments later.
He's gorgeous. But yeah, so I have a wonderful family. My husband being a small business owner and having great employees, it allows him some freedom. So our personal schedule, I don't mind sharing it, is Mondays and Wednesdays, my husband stays home with Emmett, who's my son. He's 2. Tuesdays, I have an incredibly amazing board of directors that allows me to work from home 1 day a week. And without that, that's really my lifeblood right now, having a small child. So Monday through Wednesday, he's really at home with one of the parents. And then we have a fabulous nanny named Nancy who comes and watches him Thursdays and Fridays, and she's really an extension of our family. And you got to find someone good, whether it's daycare or a babysitter or whoever. Just having that peace of mind that when you're not there, when you can't be there, you have the next best thing, and they feel totally comfortable. They're, eating enough, they're napping, which is bane of my existence, but all of that matters, and it allows you to do your job better as a working mom.
Yeah.
And so I get asked that a lot. How do you balance? And I've written articles on that too. And at the end of the day, now that I'm 2 years into this, and there's people with 4 and 5 kids probably laughing at me right now, like, please, 1, no big deal. But it's a transition,
Oh, sure.
it rocks your world there for a little bit.
Sure.
And I think that at the end of the day, there probably isn't a balance. And I know a lot of people don't want to hear that, but it's not a balance as much as it is a daily choice. So what takes your priority this week?
Yeah.
We have a major event coming up next week, for instance, and so I'm kind of working around the clock with my team to make sure that goes off without a hitch. But once that slows down, it's probably going to be a little bit more about Emmett and his needs. And I'm starting him in 2-year-old soccer,
Ooh.
which is, I'm so excited. It starts this Saturday, which is probably just going to be a lot of screaming meltdowns and hitting me in the head with the ball.
Yeah.
But it's time with my son, so it'll be fun.
Yeah.
So that was a long-winded answer to say that I don't know if there's a balance, but for me, I have an amazing husband. He's really a teammate in all of this. He's a partner in it. And I couldn't do my job without him and without Nancy, and just it's a team effort. It takes a village. It really does.
Well, I think that just speaks to your passion about what you do, because you have all of those ties that are going to pull you home.
Yep.
But you've dedicated yourself to this, and I think because of that, that's why you've been so successful. And
I try.
Yeah.
I'm all in. I really am. I've seen the power of the chamber. I've seen what it can do for a business, and I want to mention too, I couldn't do what I do without the team that's here.
Oh, sure.
We have 9 other people on our staff, and every single one of them plays an important role. And I hope that they all know that, that they're plugged into something bigger than themselves. And, they allow me to go work from home, or to rush home when Emmett's sick, or if I'm out at 5 dozen events, all of them are the ones that are back here working and keeping the chamber going.
Yeah.
And so I'm sensitive to that. There's a lot of, behind every working mom or working woman or man, really, there's a whole team of people usually behind them if you're at an executive level, and that's important to acknowledge.
Yeah. Well, if someone wants to join the chamber, what's the best course of action for them to do?
Call
that?
myself. No.
Yeah.
555. No, you would want to call the chamber. So our number is 321-459-2200. Or you can go on our website, which is cocobeachchamber.com, and fill out a I want to join form. And then the leads get passed out. We have 3 wonderful sales reps, April, Darlene, and Cheryl, and they love what they do, right, girls? And they've been doing it for a long time, so they can all, certainly they're capable of helping get you plugged into everything that Chamber does. Like I said, we do a lot. So when someone first sits down and takes that meeting, they're kind of like, where am I? There's just like so much in one place. But that's really why we ask for you to call or to fill out the form, and we'll call you, and we want to meet with you, because we don't want you just joining online and then trying to figure it out by reading things. We want to have that personal connection with you and sit down and explain everything to you so that you don't feel so overwhelmed.
Well, fantastic. Well, if I could give any endorsement, it would be for the Cocoa Beach Regional Chamber of Commerce. This whole show started as a segue for me to meet more people into the chamber, and so we appreciate everything you've done for us, and I'm sure the community does as well. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Congratulations on your success. I think what you're doing here is
Awesome.
really needed in the community, and I think it's a wonderful thing. So congratulations.
Well, thank you guys so much for tuning in today, and we hope you have an awesome rest of your day.
Happy Friday.
Bye.
Bye.